All right, so great ALGS. Let's talk about this real quick. This is a tough end game. It's interesting, these rocks. You got teams always. There's gonna be a team up here. You have a lot of high ground here. It's tough to hold here. We're gonna look real quick at the ending and we're gonna analyze it. But it was an interesting end game. The Rampart shields did a lot. It was caustic in the Rampart, and that was a good battle. But it's an interesting game. So let's get into it. So they started off here. It landed all the way in here. They're chilling over there. Now remember, there's a lot of times where in the reject Winity, like there's always a ring a lot that ends over here, right? Remember Climatizer in the back, right? There's an endgame reject Winity over here. So, it didn't pull there. Decided to pull up here, right? Let's look at it. They decided to go into a building. They got Rampart. They're playing, again, stabilizing with the Wraith. That was the biggest problem. When it was a meta with Catalyst and Bloodhound, you couldn't stabilize. No one used the Wraith with the Rampart or the Newcastle. That's what she needs. So this worked out really well with the Sparrow. Very interesting. Sparrow and Fuse were the two things that were the most important thing, I think. Sparrow and Fuse were the most important. You had to really master that character to a level of understanding to do well. Because it was used. Okay, let's see what they say. So they're going to the building. They decide to say, alright, we're just going to go to the building for now. This is a crazy building, man. Never really liked. But they like the building, so. Rampart putting pressure off the bat, showing that Pieces playing it correctly, showcasing that this is who we are, this is where we are, we're putting ourselves down here and we're going to make a statement, right? Okay. They're just saying, you know what, we're going to hold this building and we're going to hold the whole side of it. We're just going to put pressure on teams. yulariman, by the way, was the MVP of the first split. All right. yulariman, by the way, was the MVP. He was, in the beginning of the year. So this is an amazing team, and xtsuvi is the IGL. So let's look at what they're saying. They're looking at ahead. They know the ring's coming in. They don't know exactly where the ring is going yet. I don't think they weren't able to scan it. It doesn't look like. So they're looking for the ring, and okay, they're chilling. Let's go to the next part. See what happens. So they're still just hanging out in this area. Oh, come on, man.
You should AI that with Copilot. Explain it to me.
Okay, so they're still hanging out here. They're looking for the ring. Okay, the ring. They know where the ring is going now. Let's go back for a sec. So the ring is coming in, and it changes to. Interesting. Yeah, it's inner ring. They called it before it even happened, I think, too, on the other one too. So they know what's going on. So xtsuvi is looking for the position here. They're trying to figure out what's the next plan. Now, remember, you have the Wraith is going to figure out where to go, so let's see what they decide. They're looking right, so it looks like they're going to go this way. That's their best bet, right? Oh no, that's their enemy there, so it looks like they're going to go the other way. 44 seconds. Using the Rampart, right? Rampart shields played to perfection. Really good Rampart placement. Perfect Rampart placement. Xtuvi's looking. Making the call. He decides to go out by himself. Really cool. They decide to hold the inner space, and then so they decide to stabilize while he's going. Interesting. Very tough area with the height here, but they decided they want to hold right in here. So they're going to hold up in this area and hope that no teams, you know, it's a tough
こ
spot.
こ張り付きのランパートって
そっちの方がそっちの方がそっちの方が Ledge right here.
1個あるからねこれ。
オッケーオッケー。
They call out above.
いや、そこ弱い
Good.
かも。
戻るよ戻るよ。
うん。
こっちの方が強くね。
こ
そこ3人おるからね。
グレグレグレグレオセングレオセングレオセン。
Look what he's doing. Stuvie is playing
せ
the
ーの。
rampart and super gliding off of it. Watch this.
戻るよ戻るよ。
うん。
こっちの方が
They're
強く
doing
ね。
the jump, whatever. So they're using it as jumps. They're going back and forth very, very fast. Very, very interesting play.
いや、そこ弱いかも。
戻るよ戻るよ。
うん。
こっちの方が強くね。
そこ
ここかも
3人おるからね。
グレグレグレグレオセングレオセングレオセン。
いけんで。
They call out height.
いくよ。
So they're very worried about height, obviously.
ない。
あもうやる最悪お前に繋がった。
80、100。
Look how great the rampart shield
こ
is
のピン
doing.
一緒やり合ってる。
Incredible.
壊して壊して
やったやったやった
壊して壊して壊して壊して。
Okay. Taking
ダウン
damage
すん
now.
だよダウンすんだよ。
大丈夫大丈夫。
耐えてる俺。
And Peace goes down literally. He says he's one shot. My position is
や
safe.
ってんでやってんで。
The rampart gives him some
What a margin
perfect
also.
hip.
何もいけな
Realman
いよ
putting。pressure.
死んだよ、絶対。絶対死んだよ。
オッケーオッケ
取り切ろ
ー。
取り切ろ取り切ろ。
Assist, there you go.
巻いたらい
They
いよ。
got one down. He marked it.
取り
縦裏で起
行く取り行く
こしてるかも縦裏で起こしてるかも。
取り行く取り行く。
やった。
Great shots.
終わり。
ここにここにここにここによ。
ナンバーだって
They
ナンバーだって
stabilized. Great. Wow. Wow. Wow.
どう
Wow.
大丈夫。
さっきの場所も入ってるんだよな。
They decide to
上
take.
ワランクね。上ワランクね。
They decide to say, you know, we're just gonna actually just go up and we're just gonna, you know, we're putting pressure on this team. We're just gonna make it happen. We're not gonna wait. We're just gonna make it happen. Very interesting. They just decide to go up and they're playing this area, really trying to stabilize here. Very cool. Very cool.
ポータルで情報取り行こう。
うん、一旦ポー
6
タルある。
squads left. So he decides to port.
うまいかも。
い
Wow.
なくね一番
He's
上。
porting to see what's going on. Okay. Calls out the thing. He decides to port. Very interesting play by xtsuvi. Right off the bat, once they get there, he decides to use a wraith to go look around. Great.
戻る
Perfect.
よから俺。
Calling out the height.
家の
So now they know and he's taking it back.
切って最後3部隊
Stabilizing with the
いや、
rampart.
これ戻った方がいい。
Very nice
上
play.
からボコられないかな。
Still 6 squads.
いや、これ車線
I think the angle is blocked from
確
above.
かに確かに。
Yeah, that's true. Just play slow.
バッテージしかない。
I only have one battery.
しかない
あるあるある。
Well, they're communicating. They know what's going
全
on.
部取り切ろう。
上ファイトしてない
They're
か。
pointing out the house.
あれあれ、遅くない遅くない？
ない
ないないない俺。
Very interesting combo.
ファイトしないファイトしない
The Wraith is able to truly shine. You know, the Wraith is able to shine, to play the IGL. Because the stabilization, because she can see extra stuff that's going on. You know, it was never really, you know, it's very interesting doing the Wraith and the Sparrow. You're getting a lot of detection, a lot of knowing what's going on, and the Rampart able to stabilize. You know, look how much stabilization the shield, especially the Wraith and the, you know, Rampart, how key it is.
上ど
上多分来れないよ。
Okay.
ゆっくりでいいよ。
Go back.
入ってきたでしたさっきのとこ。
Still 6 squads.
ゆっくりねゆっくりね。
They're putting a lot of pressure
う？
on
丸ぐる丸ぐる丸ぐる丸ぐる。
右右右右来るかも。
it. They go back into the house.
右ちょっと押さえるで。
上やり合ってないどう？
やるってやるってやるってやるってやるって。
右やった
上やり合ってるよ上やり合ってるよ。ポテラ入るよポテラ入るよ。
入れで入れですぐ入れよ。
Look at that. Hiding inside the portal.
入れるよ入れるよ。
Okay, hold on. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. This is great. Let's watch this. Okay, hold on.
いいよ。
いい移動してね移動してね。
ガスロー
Stabilize.
ガスロール。
手前来るかも手前来るかも。
それ狙うそれ狙う。
狙う狙う。
チルチル戻ってもいいよ戻ってもいいよ。
ワンショワンショワンショマジでワンショ。
Where did that port
上
come from?
どう
Let's？find
上多
out.
分来れないよ。これポータル的に行こうポータル的に行こう。ゆっくりでいいよ。
Let's third party. We can play slow.
入ってきたでしたさっきのとこ。一個くれ切るわ。
ゆっくりねゆっくりね。
丸ぐる丸ぐる丸ぐる丸ぐ
Alright,
る。
右
grenade.
右右右来るかも。
What happens now?
右ちょっと押さえるで。
上やり合ってないどう？
やるってやるってやるってやるってやるって。
右やった
上やり合ってるよ上やり合ってるよ。ポテラ入るよポテラ入るよ。
入れで入れですぐ入れよ。
ごめんなさいごめんなさい。
They decided to port and get out of there real quick.
前出るよ前出るよ前出るよ。
So in all that,
来るかも。
they decide to go
右ちょっと
and
押
get
さえ
out
る
of
で。
上やり合ってないどう？
やるってやるってやるってやるってやるって。
右やった右やった。
上やり合ってるよ上やり合ってるよ。
と抑えるで。
上やり合ってないどう
やれてるやれてるやれてるやれてる
右やった右やった
上やり合ってるよ上やり合ってるよポテラ入るよポテラ入るよ
入れで入れですぐ入れよ。
And then they're
Wait,
hiding
wait,
the
wait,
fort,
wait,
and they
wait, wait,
decide to go to the opposite side. Wow, they decide to go straight to the opposite side. Go all the way around here. They just completely change complete position. Look at that. Complete position. 5 squads left.
No, 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 no!